friends, come on in, take your shoes off, have a seat, and consider staying a while by clicking that subscribe button. So we are only a week away from Indiana ending not only its mask mandate, but all of its COVID restrictions.
Even as humbled as I am by all our loss, I've never been prouder. Prouder because of the Hoosier spirit itself. Indiana indeed rose to the challenge time and time again.
Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb marks 1 year since the state's stay-at-home order, also breaking tonight when vaccines will be open to all Hoosiers. We're following more breaking news. Governor Eric Holcomb says Indiana will lift statewide COVID restrictions and the mask mandate effective April 6th.
You heard that announcement just minutes ago live here on Wish TV News 8's Dan Klein joins us from the newsroom with those details. Dan.
Yeah, Brooke and Phil, you heard it here just moments ago. This is essentially the governor's announcement on when Indiana can fully reopen, and the date to know is April 6th. On April 6th, the governor says Indiana will end its mask mandate and make it a mask advisory. Indiana will end all statewide COVID restrictions, including on restaurants and bars, and it will let local governments make decisions on capacity sizes at large events.
I've never really been a believer in the mask thing. I know that's probably going to get me some hate on my channel, but I haven't, you guys. I've done a lot of research on it. And from what I understand, unless the person is properly wearing their mask, which we know half the population does not, they don't cover their nose, unless the person is wearing a fitted mask, which most of the population isn't, because you couldn't buy them at the beginning of the pandemic and they're very expensive, and most of them just don't cover their face. A lot of them just wear the throwaway mask, which doesn't like cap off their mouth right here, so their germs are just spewing behind them. And unless each building has a purification air filtration system, which we all know most buildings cannot afford and do not have, then pretty much masks are useless because the germs are going to get out. Now, do I think masks stop a few germs from coming out of your mouth? Yes, but I don't think that it stops all of them. The CDC has reported that wearing a mask does not stop you from getting or giving the virus, even though they say it stops you from giving, but we all know it can be passed. If the whole population's been wearing masks, if people have been, told to do so, then why are we still having rising cases? Like, that's just my opinion. Don't come for me. You're more than welcome to share yours down in the comments, but that is just my opinion that masks do not work. Hi, I'm stopping the video right here because I was editing and I was realizing that I was saying I was in a small town, but also the second biggest city in Indiana. I just wanted to explain that really quickly. So we live in a suburb of the big city, so we're only about 15 to 20 minutes from the actual city area. So I always count us in the city, but we're technically in a town outside of it, if that makes sense. So all right, I'm gonna keep talking now. My small town, they actually haven't really enforced masks this entire time, and we have one of the lowest COVID numbers in Indiana. I just find that interesting as well, but a lot of the time they don't say anything, ask you to put your mask on or whatever. We don't have too many stores here. I think we have about 3. And none of them force you to wear a mask. None of the employees are wearing a mask, and like I said, we have some of the lowest numbers. So that's kind of interesting. For areas around here, I really don't think this is gonna affect us too much, besides our restaurants finally being able to open up and places being able to run at full capacity. I think that's gonna be amazing for the economy around here. Do I think that it's going to be enough to save us from the crap hole our government has dug us in? No, I think we're in way too much debt, but I am very happy for those small businesses that have made it through the pandemic that will be able to run at full capacity. Where I think it's going to be a problem is in more of our liberal cities. The one I can think off at the top of my head is Bloomington. Me and my husband, no offense Bloomington peeps, but we will never go back to Bloomington. It's such a liberal town and people are just really rude there. And everyone just has a liberal agenda. I think those types of places will really fight back in Indiana. I think a lot of those establishments will still force a mask, even though it's not mandated, because it is a private business. They have every right to do so. But I do think that, and my hope is that they will lose business because of that, because again, I just don't believe in the mask thing. I think it's a way for our government to try and control us, and I am just glad that it's ending. My prediction is that the media is going to try to spin this like they have in Texas. They have come down so hard on Texas leaders about lifting their mandate, and Texas just kind of fighting back against the agenda of our government right now. I do think that they will probably spin, oh, Indiana numbers are out of control because they're not wearing masks and blah, blah, blah. Like, I can just see that coming for us. I will say that we haven't worn our mask in stores that don't require it. If they ask us to put it on, sure, we're not going to be difficult. We'll put it on. But me and my husband last, I would say 3 weeks, have really tried to not wear it. And honestly, around here, we haven't had too many people ask us to put it on. We've gotten a ton of dirty looks, which I thought was really interesting. We've gotten a lot of people who didn't want to like service us, like either at like the deli counter or at our checkout line. But none of them asked us to put a mask on. So I just kind of find that interesting. But I do think it'll just be interesting on the 6th to see how people react to this. And how many people continue to comply with this sheep-like mentality of leading us to a government-controlled society, and how many people will actually fight back. I'm proud of the Hoosier State for the most part. I feel like we have stayed pretty much conservative, pretty much on the side of the citizen, and I don't think it'll be, like I said, a problem around here. Another thing I wanted to talk about today is the food shortages that we have been having lately.
Well, the pandemic has hit the economy hard, which means more people have been relying on food support. Mitch Legan reports on how food banks have been answering the call.
The pandemic led to one of the sharpest economic downturns in U.S. history. As COVID creeped across the country and employees were laid off, increasing numbers of Hoosiers became unsure where their next meal would come from. Record numbers turned to food banks.
Right before COVID started, we were at about 3,000 to 3,500 people, depending on the month, per month. COVID happened in March. We went up to about 5,000. By December, we were at 8,000.
Chavez says after March, almost half of people making the trip to Ellettsville had never been to a food pantry before. By early September, Pantry 279 had already surpassed its 2019 numbers.
They're upset. They're scared. They're worried, people that are coming here. Will we be able to get enough food? Will we still have a house? Will we have electricity for heating and cooling?
Almost 1 million Hoosiers were food insecure before 2020. That's about 15% of the state's population. School closures cut off a vital source of food for many families. Job losses and the unknown risks of going to the grocery store added to the problem.
I've noticed since the beginning of the pandemic holes in our shelves. So things haven't been completely empty. When the pandemic first started and everyone was panic buying, sure, there was a lot of empty shelves. But since that's been kind of over and people, I think, have gotten a little bit smarter about their shopping, there's just been holes in our shelves. But it's definitely not like the full shelves that we were used to seeing prior to the pandemic. I haven't gone grocery shopping in a while because we've been really trying to eat out of our stockpile, but we did go last night, and I'll just show you a few video clips while I'm talking from there. I want to say like the main things we saw that were out were flour, bread, meat, yogurt, cheese, I want to say like juice and that kind of stuff was out, and a lot of pasta. So like the ramen noodles and like the microwave mac and cheese, that was almost like impossible to find. I think the biggest shocker to me, and something that really got me thinking because it's something I just started to stockpile, was seasonings. When we went to the store, like almost all of the seasoning racks were empty. There was a few here and there, but it was pretty wiped out. And so I thought that was interesting that people are either buying more of, I think because people are eating more bland things like rice and beans and that kind of thing. Maybe they're trying to flavor it. I'm not really sure. But that's just something in our area that those are like the main things that I have found missing. We had our baby gender reveal this last weekend, and I was talking to my mom about it because she lives in like a way small town north of us. And they like basically have nothing there. It's just like a really, really small farm town. And they do have like a marketplace there. And she has said she couldn't believe me when I was like telling her the shortages we've had here, and I've even sent her pictures. She's like, I just can't believe that. And she told me this last Saturday that she went to the store last week and she actually noticed empty shelves at their marketplace, which has not been throughout the entire pandemic. I've been kind of gauging how bad things are getting based off of that, because I think in these smaller towns where people are used to either prepping or they're just farmers, so they're used to kind of being more self-sufficient, I've been kind of gauging how bad it's getting based off of what my mom is saying. And so that, I think, scared me more than seeing our shelves empty here, because I hate to say it, but we've gotten used to that. That's something over the past year that it's just been, you know, normal. But to hear that it's hitting their small town, that tells me things are starting to get really bad with food shortages. Make sure that if you guys, I'm sure most of you that watch this channel are preppers, or at least are like trying to be prepared more for something else to happen. Make sure you are stocked up on some food. With this whole, the ship being stuck in the canal thing, I think that's gonna worsen it. And I just think in general, we have not seen the impact that last year has had. And I think that that is still coming. Let me know in the comment section down below what your stores look at. Also, let me know what your opinion is on the mask mandate that we have that's lifting, and what your opinion is on that. I would love to hear what you all have to say. That is it for me today. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. It's free, it only takes a second, and it really helps the channel out, and I'll catch you guys all in the next one.